A man who once led a life of crime is doing something that others respect him for today.
Ameer Baraka traded in reality-based drama for the kind we see now in movies and TV. But his journey has not been easy. Natasha Robin brings us Saved by the Silver Screen.
The B.W. Cooper, once known as the Calliope, was among New Orleans' most notorious.
When New Orleans was the murder capital of the world, we had almost 4 and something murders. Within these few blocks, 20 of the murders happened here, in this community.
A place where the drug trade fueled unthinkable violence.
I can see you were willing to tote those guns.
It sort of all boils down to becoming a product of your community.
Just like in every neighborhood, every hood, moreover a project is always killing, a lot of drug dealing. So I've seen a lot of that stuff, and I participated in that, and got involved deeply in that because I thought that was the way to go.
Ameer Baraka was born and raised in the B.W. Cooper. Barely a teenager, he was sucked into a life of crime.
The first time I purchased a gun, I was about 13 years old. And it's funny because it was this guy, this older guy, he threw a drink in my face. He was on Clickham's. And I walked to my projects while my grandmother was on the porch, got my gun, sat on the opposite porch from her, and started shooting at him.
Baraka's gunfire didn't strike his target. At 14 years old, he was already on hardcore drugs and says he was itching to use his gun again.
As I got deeper and deeper into the drug game, it comes with laws and rules and territory and turf. And one particular day, there was another guy selling drugs in my project. I told him that he couldn't sell drugs in my project. We got into it, an altercation. He went and got a gun, I went and got a gun, and unfortunately, I shot that gun, and he was hit and later pronounced dead.
Baraka says he remembered thinking about what he'd done, but at the time, he says he couldn't truly understand.
You know, when you're thinking with these type of values and you got people embracing you, once you do that, they're embracing you, they're calling you, now you a man, now you made it to the next level, they can appreciate that. I mean, it only perpetuates that type of mentality.
A year later, police arrested Baraka for murder. The charge was reduced to manslaughter, and he was sentenced to 1 year in a juvenile prison.
I had some fights on the inside. The guy who I had murdered, he had a lot of friends, a lot of guys respected him, so when I got there, I was constantly fighting. I was constantly having to fight a cousin or a friend or whatnot, and so that was a little difficult for me because I didn't know who was coming at me.
When he got out, Baraka immediately picked up where he left off in the projects.
I was still selling drugs in school. I would bring my drugs to school, like a quarter key, put it in the locker, have people to come and pick it up. I just was so addicted to making that money.
Baraka continued to get in trouble and was eventually wanted on a cocaine charge. Because he was a multiple offender and was facing serious jail time, Baraka slipped out of town and headed for L.A.
I met some guys who were into filming like you guys do, and called Black Watch Production, and we got a chance to interview Tupac, Easy, Dr. Dre, all these successful young guys. And I was saying to myself, damn, what do they have that I don't have? And they had a vision. And I realized, I'm like, damn, they had a vision. They wanted to do this, produce and rap since they were little boys. They wasn't selling drugs. They were rapping and writing and acting and stuff like that. So what I realized was that, damn, I've been misled.
He began to explore a new way of life.
Started taking acting classes, then the lights just turned on. I started having positive values, positive visions about my life.
Baraka became an actor.
I was in the union, had a false name and everything. And I was doing really well, doing plays and modeling. I was like living this whole nother lifestyle. I was just enjoying life. I really was enjoying life, but it had to come to an end, unfortunately, because I had a price to pay here in New Orleans.
He he was eventually busted and extradited back to New Orleans. This time, Baraka was sentenced to 4 years in prison. On the inside, he got his GED and constantly read about the history of the African-American culture. At times, though, Baraka admits it was extremely tough.
I took a Bible, Natasha, I put it on the parish, on the floor in the jail, and I stood on top of it. I said, God, I'm trusting you to get me out of this trouble. And I promise you, if you get me out of this trouble, I promise you, I would do anything you want me to do. I would help kids. I would do anything. I would never sell drugs again.
Baraka believes his prayers were answered. He got out of jail 4 years later, a changed man.
I modeled for Diesel, Nike, Modish, P. Miller clothing line. Had an $80,000 contract with that clothing line. And I did really well. I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish. Everything that I wanted to accomplish, I did it.
You like games, Jimmy? You want to play a game? Here we go again. Okay, here's how the game goes. When you're ready to talk, you tap my hands 3 times.
He also threw himself back into acting.
I have 20 movie credits, so I did it. When I got out, I stayed in New Orleans 1 week, and I went back to California because I was so determined and focused that I was going to do it.
Even with his newfound fame, he never forgot about his past.
All right, you gotta go for a pass. Go. Catch. Woo.
He did eventually come home, and while still working as an actor, he continues to visit the B.W. Cooper, now mentoring the people of his old community.
Is that right? You have any contact on her?
The old-timers remember Baraka.
I'm very proud of him because of what he was able to do.
I can honestly say, you the one that brought me to life. It's been 3 years now, that I didn't turn my life over. Right. It was through you.
Well, growing up, I kind of admired what he was doing because he was much older than I. And but he doing positive things now. He motivates me to do positive things.
I'm talking to this lady, right? Right. So he's being total disrespectful. Right.
Baraka's already influenced some, like Dwayne Shelley, who has created his own nonprofit,
which called Verses of Experience, that I deal with the youth, sort of like what Barack do.
Shelley, like Baraka, spent time in jail. He says he can remember looking up to the drug dealers, idolizing them, wanting to be the drug lord of the B.W. Cooper.
Me, Barack, most of us guys got into the game because our families wasn't doing fine, or some of the guys we looked up to was doing those very same things. That's the only information that was in the community.
Kids need positive role models. They need somebody that they could see, somebody that they can touch. I mean, it's too many negative people back here. Everybody's selling dope or doing some crazy stuff, so they need positive guys, and that's beginning to emerge.
Living conditions are no longer quite as grim, but drugs and murder still exist here. The latest high-profile killing in the B.W. Cooper was back in December, when little Kiara Williams got caught in the crossfire. She died just days before she would have turned 2.
Like I said, this is one of the things that we definitely don't want to see again. I mean, that was a 2-year-old girl. I knew her parents. They were great people, and I don't want to see that happen anymore. I don't want to see that. I've been seeing that all my life. Catch. Ah!
Baraka spends at least 3 days a week in his old project.
All my family members are doing well, Natasha. I don't need to be back here, but these are my family. These people are my family as well. I mean, just think about if I left and said, the hell with them. And people, we take up on that mentality, and I understand brothers who do that. I really do, because it's quite difficult.
At times, it's an uphill battle, but he's not giving up.
I believe I'm going to live a long time, but you're not really living unless you're willing to give your life for something. You know what I mean? So if I die, something happened to me, just remember Ameer Baraka as a person. Love you. Love you. That helped kids, that reached back. A man who did wrong in his past, but he tried to make up for it. So that's why I don't walk in fear. I don't walk in fear at all.
Baraka says his whole life has been a struggle. He's succeeding in the movie and television industry, but it's a tough business. Baraka says he's not leaving the B.W. Cooper. He's on a mission. He wants to one day build a center there for kids, and after talking to him, I believe he will do it in time.
Wow, he's so
Great
passionate
guy.
about it, too. It's amazing.
He really is.